All right. So again, welcome everybody to the Nutrition Facts Label Workshop. And I just want to share that the reason we, Workwell as well as Nutrition Excellence, decided to put this together because we thought it would be very helpful, number one, for the nutrition campaign. And if you decided this week to do mini challenge where you were looking at food labels to either identify the fiber content of different foods or sugar content, then understanding the nutrition facts label and what kind of information the label provides would be very helpful. So welcome everybody. And next slide, please. I don't even have to say what Workwell is because the fact that you're here today tells me that you're at least familiar with who we are. And in reality, Workwell is the city's worksite wellness program, and we're here to provide a variety of different wellness and events, programs, resources. We have 5 bucket areas: physical activity. We have the walking challenge coming up April 1. So hopefully you are all registering. The last day to register is March 16th. We have healthy eating, which you're all participating in with the Food is Medicine campaign. It is a pilot campaign, so we are loving hearing from you all. So please keep visiting the Padlet, sharing how you're doing, what your goals are. We're reading every single one of the pieces of information that's shared. Primary care, not too sure if any of you are familiar with our Let's Bring the Pressure Down program or Let's Bring the Sugar Down program, as well as our flu vaccination program. So we deal with Take Action, primary care services and prevention. We have mental health and well-being resources, and Project Build, where we bring or put focus on health equity. So welcome, welcome. Today, Tamar Alkin, who is a registered dietitian, will be guiding you through the food label. And without further ado, I'm going to pass the baton on. So here you go, Tamar.
Thanks, Brenda. Welcome, everybody. Just a reminder, if you want to turn your cameras on, I always welcome cameras on because it's fun to see what people look like and, better than talking to black boxes. So today, thanks, Raquel. So today we're going to talk about the nutrition facts label. And one of the things Brenda had mentioned was if you have a snack or a package or something next to you, it's always nice to go through a real life example together rather than just looking at something on the screen. I will put up an example in case you're not near anything, but this way, if you do have something next to you, you can follow along as well. So this is just a quick, hi, Lindsay. This is just a quick recap of what the old nutrition label used to look like. And then in 2016, it was changed to the nutrition facts label on the right that had a bunch of additions and fonts made bigger. So we're going to talk through what it looks like today. And this is a handout that will be emailed to you so that it kind of just recaps everything we're addressing. So the example of the food that I chose to go through was a strawberry yogurt. Anybody strawberry yogurt fan over here? So yeah, getting a few thumbs up. I figured, I know they sell this at Costco. You can find them almost anywhere, even now bodegas, the airport. It's a very frequently purchased yogurt. So my question is, how healthy is it really, right? We know yogurt is touted as a health food. It's got protein, it's got probiotics, but what else is in our yogurt? Okay. So we're going to start by also, if you have any questions, we're a small group. You can unmute yourself. You can use the chat, however you feel comfortable. So taking a look at this example, this is the strawberry non-fat Chobani Greek yogurt. I don't mean to pick on one brand. It's just that this tends to be pretty popular. So taking a look at the nutrition facts label, I just pulled up a bigger version of it. So if you are holding the cup, it'll look a little bit different on the back. This is just how it's formatted on a larger print. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Okay, and you can type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Do you think it's real strawberries in the yogurt? Okay, getting a unanimous no over here. Oh, we got a few yeses. Okay. Okay, maybe puree. Some yeses. Okay, good. So I'm glad I chose this because this is what we're going to go through today. So taking a look at the top where it says nutrition facts, right? The serving size per container. This is going to be the first thing that we're looking at. This is going to tell you the size of one serving in this one container. So for this example, it's yogurt, it's 5.3 ounces, and it's also going to give you the weight in grams. It's 150 grams, okay? Now, this is important to note for a few reasons. One, if you're holding, say, like a bag of chips, and it's going to tell you that the serving size for a bag of chips is 11 chips. Do you think most people only eat one serving? No. I see Carol shaking her head. No, 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 right? So what's nice about these little cups is that they are already, pre-portioned, right, into these one little cups. Although it doesn't really mean anything either. The serving size is typically not a recommendation of how much you should eat or drink. It reflects the serving of what people normally, typically eat or drink. So they'll take a group of people like this and they'll give everyone a big tub of yogurt. And what they do is they weigh how much you ate, how much Lali ate, how much Raquel ate, how much Carol ate, and then they take that average. So it's not like a real science over here with the serving size. You don't have to eat this much if it's too much for you, okay? But remember that all of the information on the nutrition facts label reflects one serving. So it's easy in this, single serving yogurt container, but it becomes a slippery slope when it's an open bag of chips or an open bag of cookies, right? That one serving that is for 2 cookies easily and very quickly becomes 2, 3, 4, 5 servings. And when that happens, everything starts increasing and you have to start doing the math, right? So that is the serving size, okay? Now we have calories. And what are calories? What does calories mean? Go ahead, type it in the chat or unmute yourself. What do we think calories means? Or what do we know about calories? Where do we get calories from? Energy, good, right? Calories is energy, and we get calories from protein, carbohydrates, fat, and alcohol, but we're not here to talk about alcohol. So we're going to stick to the protein, carbohydrates, and fat, okay? So for example, in this category, in this yogurt, we have 110 calories, okay? Now, it's important to remember that on average, most people consume about a 2,000 calorie a day diet. And this is kind of a guideline for eating more than the calories we need. Your body starts to store it, and your body can store it as fat. And that can cause overweight, obesity. It can increase your risk for types of, diseases. So we want to make sure that we are in a good range of burning the certain amount of calories, eating a certain amount of calories, and maintaining that balance. When the balance is too high one way or another, it's not great, okay? So the number of servings you consume determines the number of calories you actually eat, right? So that's what we mean also by the fact that one serving is not always so honest, right? And that we tend to eat more than one serving. So moving on from calories, we have fat, my favorite category, right? Now, not all fat is created equal. This happens to be a non-fat yogurt. So almost everything is zero. There is a little bit of cholesterol because it's a dairy product and we get cholesterol from animal products. But not all fat is bad, right? We don't have to only be eating non-fat yogurt. The fat from dairy is actually an important source of healthy fats for us. It helps us stay feeling fuller longer. Fat takes a long time to break down in our body. And it can help with absorbing certain fat-soluble vitamins. Certain vitamins, we need fat to be able to absorb them. And it helps with type 2 diabetes and regulating our blood sugar levels. Because fat takes so long to break down, when we combine it with carbohydrates, it slows down how quickly our body is able to break them down and send that energy into our bloodstream. So to break down that sugar and send it into our bloodstream to raise our blood sugar, when it's combined with fat, it just slows that process down. And that helps keep our blood sugar levels stable. Is that good if we have type 2 diabetes or not good? That's good. We want our blood sugar levels to be stable. No, Carol, it's good. It's good. That's what we want. Lily, it's good. We want our blood sugar levels to be stable. So by eating that fat with the carbohydrates, we're getting a nice stable blood sugar level. So that's what we want. Now, do you have to eat a whole tub of yogurt? No, this is enough. But the fat from dairy can be an important source of fat for us, okay? Now, within fat, there are different types of fat, right? Saturated fat is solid at room temperature. So this will be like your butter, your egg yolks, your meat, the fat that's on meat, right? Saturated fat. This yogurt has 0 grams, nothing to worry about here. It's not a fat that we have to worry about too much in particular. Anyway, our body knows how to break down to use saturated fat. Underneath saturated fat, if you see it says trans fats, this is a fat that is directly related to our heart health. It is dangerous for our bodies, and we absolutely do not need it. We'll find trans fats in like commercially baked goods. You know, if you ever go to the bodega and see like the little, little Miss Debbie's Drake's cakes or the lemon pound cake. We'll find it in deep fried fast foods. We'll find it in things like margarines. I can't believe it's not butter, Earth Balance, these foods that have partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. Those are going to have some trans fats. There is a loophole for trans fats on the nutrition facts label. You can have up to 0.5 gram of trans fats on the label, and the food manufacturer can round down, meaning that if it's less than 0.5 gram, they can still list it as 0. Now, why is this dangerous? What did we start our class by saying? Do most people only eat 1 serving? No. So you could very quickly be consuming a few grams of trans fats without even recognizing it, without even realizing it. So you see now why it starts to get a little dangerous? Okay. So, eating too many of these types of trans fats in particular, they're associated with an increase of developing certain health conditions like cardiovascular disease, heart disease, high blood pressure. And we'll talk more about the diseases associated with excess sugar as well. Okay, so this is our fat category. Now, if you're holding anything that has milk, eggs, butter in it, it's going to have a little bit of cholesterol, right? Because we get cholesterol from animal products. Not something we have to worry about. We know that the cholesterol that comes from food does not affect the cholesterol that our body makes. Also, the yogurt, that's a healthy source of cholesterol, of an animal fat. So nothing to be concerned about. Okay. Sorry, any questions about the fat category? We can leave time for questions at the end also. Next, we have sodium. How many of us look at the nutrition facts label for sodium? All right, I got 1 hand raised. Again, if you're just joining us, you can feel free to turn your camera on. It's always nice to see faces. Okay, we've got Shannon, we've got Yolanda. Awesome. So we do have a few people say Lily. Okay, cool. Linda sometimes, Nadira does, Simone does not, Dietrich does, David does, Helen does. Oh, hi, Helen. Wanda does. Okay, cool. So it looks like something that we're all trying to pay attention to. And why, or most of us, why do we care about sodium? Sodium on the nutrition facts label, I should specify. Right, hypertension. Thanks, Carol. Right, so too much sodium has to do with our high blood pressure. Yes, Josephina. Yes, Carol. Right. Thank you, Linda. So the sodium that's in food manufacturing is used as a preservative. Sodium in and of itself is a naturally occurring mineral. You'll find it in some fruits and vegetables. It's not a bad thing. But sodium that's used in the food manufacturing, that's the bad one. That's the one that is used to help food stay fresher longer. So when we think about foods high in sodium, what comes to mind? Chips. Rita, I'll talk about excess in a second. TV dinners, good. Frozen foods, fast foods, potato chips, cold cuts, salt, good. Oh, packaged noodles, fried foods, excellent list. Good. So just to touch quickly upon what Rita had mentioned, excess can be harmful, right? Yes, Helen. So when it comes to excess sodium, the sodium that we're concerned about is the sodium that's on this nutrition facts label, the sodium that is used as a preservative. Foods like celery have sodium. Am I concerned that the sodium in celery is going to give me heart disease? No, not the sodium we're worried about, right? Even something like sodium in yogurt. Am I going to get heart disease from eating yogurt? No. It is from everything else you're eating that's not the yogurt, right? So it's not the kind of food that we have to be too concerned about. Another good example is cottage cheese. A lot of people are concerned about the sodium that's in cottage cheese. Yogurt, cottage cheese, I consider these to be more of a fresh food, right? There's a difference between sodium in cottage cheese and sodium in potato chips, right? Not the same. Yes, they both have sodium, but I'm less concerned about the sodium from the cottage cheese. Make sense? Okay. If you're one of those people that's rolling your eyes at cottage cheese, give it another shot. Buy a full fat cottage cheese, because I too was a skeptic and I did not like 1% or no fat cottage cheese. Try a 4%, try a 6%. Friendship brand makes an 8% cottage cheese. And if you can't get behind the texture, because not everyone can, you can blend it and then it kind of comes out similar to like ricotta cheese. No fat food usually has high sodium. Yes, Carol, because sodium helps food taste like something. And guess what else helps food taste like something? Fat. So when you take the fat out, you're losing flavor. Josephina, is it because it's added instead of naturally produced? What is that in relation to, Josephina? If you can give me a little more detail about that question. What happens if you have high cholesterol? Linda, that is another class, but you know, the cholesterol you get from food doesn't affect the cholesterol that your body makes. But to help naturally lower cholesterol, we're going to talk about it on the next slide. We can eat more fiber, exercise, and lose weight. Those are some examples of ways to help lower our cholesterol naturally. Josephine, I like the celery example. Is it because it's added instead of naturally produced? The celery naturally occurring, yes. And then with the dairy products, it's going to be added minimally. I hope that makes sense. Some seasonings are high in sodium, yes. Again, that is to add flavor, but you can flavor your food in lots of fun ways without sodium. You can, first of all, if you're like making broccoli or roasted potatoes at home and you sprinkle a little bit of salt on top, that's not the kind of salt I'm concerned about, right? You're not going to get heart disease from eating broccoli at home. Again, it's everything else that you're eating, right? That could contribute to that. The seasonings, if you are concerned about the sodium, and they can be a source of high sodium, use, yes, Nadira, fresh herbs, parsley, cilantro, oregano, thyme, rosemary, mint, chives, oregano, all the good ones. You can use dried ones as well. Don't be afraid of oil, like olive oil and all the vinegars, lemon. There are lots of ways to flavor our food naturally that you don't need these high sodium seasonings. Okay. Simone, to lower cholesterol, we'll talk about it more on the next slide, but high fiber, exercise, nobody wants to hear it, but it's the cure to most of our ailments, and losing weight. Any comments regarding MSG? Yeah, it's high in sodium and it helps food taste like something, right? So we don't need it. Some people claim to be sensitive to it. You can season your food in other ways. Cooking olive oil at a high temperature, you have up to about 370 degrees. So you don't really have to exceed that temperature quite often. Okay, so that is sodium in the yogurt. Some is okay, right? Naturally occurring is fine. This is a low amount of sodium. So again, I consider this a fresher food, not something to be concerned about. Next, we have our, I'd say one of the most important categories on here, our carbohydrates. Okay, now this carbohydrate section is split, right? Like fat, not all are created equal. We have the first category says total carbohydrates. Total carbohydrates get split into a few different sections. We have dietary fiber. Just a quick note about fiber. Most people don't get enough. Fiber only comes from where? If you've been to my class before, you know how I feel about fiber. Where do we find fiber and why are we not getting enough of it?
Plants.
Plants. There we go. Thank you to whoever shouted that out. Thanks, Cece. So plants, right, have fiber. Do you think most people eat enough plants? Yes, David, fruits and vegetables, good example. The answer is no. Most of us are not getting enough plant foods, so most of us are not getting enough fiber. When you see fiber on the label, what kind of number do you want to see next to fiber? The higher, the better. Good. Now, does my yogurt come from plants? No. Is this yogurt going to be a high source of fiber? No. But it has strawberries. Still no, right? They're not that real. Now, underneath fiber, we have another category of carbohydrates, and this is our total sugars. Now, again, total sugars splits. We have total sugar, which refers to naturally occurring sugar. And we'll find naturally occurring sugar in like fruit, right? Fructose, the naturally occurring sugar that's in fruit. Yogurt, dairy, has a naturally occurring sugar as well. If you've ever drank milk before, it has that like little bit of sweetness to it, right? The sugar that's naturally occurring in dairy is called lactose. The lactose, some people have a hard time breaking it down, right? They are lactose intolerant. They have a hard time breaking down the sugar that's in milk. So when it says total sugar on my yogurt, and here you see 13 grams, it's referring to some of the naturally occurring sugar, right? And underneath total sugar, we have includes 9 grams of added sugar. This is the kicker, right? This is what we really want to focus on here, okay? So this product has 9 grams of added sugar, 4 grams of naturally occurring sugar. 4 grams of naturally occurring sugar, pretty low, not concerned about it. Naturally occurring lactose, normal, move on. The 9 grams of added sugar, the number to remember here when you see grams of added sugar is 4. 4 grams of added sugar equals 1 teaspoon. Okay, I'm going to say that again. 4 grams of added sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So if this little teeny tiny cup of yogurt has 9 grams of added sugar, how many teaspoons are in this yogurt? Where are my math people? Right. Okay, so the answer is 2 1/4, okay? Or 2 1/8. We'll get nitpicky. Now, if you were to buy this little teeny tiny cup of yogurt at home, okay, would you add 2 1/8 teaspoons of sugar at home to this little teeny tiny cup of yogurt? Raquel, that was not a no with enough confidence, right? No. But the answer is hopefully no, right? That's a lot of sugar to add to a small serving of yogurt, right? So, Cece, maybe. Well, the answer we're looking for was hopefully no, right? Hopefully no. And honey, something you can always add to yogurt, is actually sweeter than sugar. So maybe you don't need as much honey as you would sugar to help get that flavor of sweetness, okay? So the reason that this is dangerous is, one, does this yogurt taste like super sweet or offensively sweet? No, right? Tastes, I don't know, pretty decent. Now, yes, it's sweet, but it's not like, a scoop of ice cream, right? Two, this yogurt is a food that's touted as a health food, right? So here you are buying this, here you are giving it to kids, and it has so much sugar in it. Now, is this yogurt, be honest, is this yogurt the only source of added sugar you're eating today? No. And this yogurt is probably, presumably, one of the healthier things you're eating today, right? So maybe, there's cookies in the break room, or maybe it's someone's birthday and you're celebrating later, and you're going to have way more added sugar than just this yogurt. But this could be your breakfast. So we could be starting off our morning with this added sugar, right? And the reason it's dangerous is because this adds up very quickly. And why is too much added sugar dangerous? Why does it matter if it adds up quickly? What's the harm? Good. It leads to increased weight gain. What else? Eventually, your body stores it as fat, increases your risk for type 2 diabetes, increases your blood sugar levels. Exactly. Good. Thanks to everyone who participated in the chat. Okay. So, does our body need added sugar to survive? No, Evelina, it does not. Maybe your soul does, but we don't need it, right? So it just means that you're starting off your meal or your snack with a lot of hidden added sugar, right? So these things creep up on us very quickly. So that's what we want to pay attention to, okay? Now, there are ways to increase the amount of fiber in this yogurt, right? By adding what? What can we add to our yogurt? Nuts. Good, Lynette. We're going to talk about decreasing the sugar in a second. Lily, oats also have a lot of sugar. Like granola also has a lot of sugar, so just pay attention. Real fruit, flax, chia, good. Berries, bran, seeds, fruits, good. Now, again, it doesn't mean you can't drizzle a little bit of honey on top, but granola is another one of those foods that sounds healthy, but it actually has a lot of added sugar to it, right? There's a reason it's so delicious. And oats in general are also a high carbohydrate food, and our body breaks down those carbohydrates as sugar. So by eating a lot of carbohydrates and eating a lot of added sugar, it's just like a double whammy of sugar on our body. Okay, moving along, we have protein. Yogurt is a high protein food. Why is that important? Why do we care about protein? Good, Simone. It helps us stay full. Yes, yes, CC, muscle building. Yes, David, helps us stay full. Good for our bones. So protein, like fat, takes a long time to break down in our body. So the more of it we eat, we feel fuller longer. Good. Important for our immune system. Important for muscle building. Correct. You also have to exercise. That's the other half. But protein's the first step. Good. Also, with our blood sugar levels, when we talk about carbohydrates and our body breaking them down into sugar, when we combine them with protein, like I mentioned before, combining them with fat, combining them with protein as well will help keep our blood sugar levels stable, right? And that's important. Okay, next we have the 4 nutrients of concern. Okay, these are listed as 4 nutrients that, you guessed it, most people are not getting enough about, and it's concerning. So we have vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. So when we see options on the label, we want to choose options that have more of these, unless some sort of medical contraindication, and then it's listed on here so you can choose items that make sense for your lifestyle. Now, something very important to note that I think most people also don't realize is that when we talk about yogurt, we mention that yogurt is also on that list of items that are a good source of vitamin D. And that's because the dairy in this country is fortified with vitamin D, meaning there is extra vitamin D in our dairy. There are certain yogurt companies that do not fortify their yogurt with vitamin D. Chobani is one of them. Siggy's is one of them. Faye is one of them. And those are like the top 3 Greek yogurt brands, right? So it doesn't mean they're bad. But if you're concerned about vitamin D and trying to get more of it, just remember, this is not it. Okay, you got to find different sources of it. Some other sources of vitamin D include what?
Milk?
What are some examples?
Milk?
Milk that is fortified, yeah. So, no, not the dark leafy greens. Everyone's saying that that's calcium. Sunshine, Christina, yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you, Deetris. So dairy, yes, CC, right? The vitamin D we'll find in like egg yolks, liver is another good source, fatty fish, good. Okay. Okay, moving on. Now, when you take a look at the nutrition facts label, when you look at something like sodium, and it says 65 milligrams, if I said to you, Carol, what does 65 milligrams look like? Could you show me? No, right? We don't measure things in milligrams in this country. So it's not a unit of measurement that really makes sense to most of us. So they created the percent daily value. So if you're holding a nutrition facts label, if you take a look at the screen, these are the percentages on the side, okay? Now, each nutrient that's on the nutrition facts label, they gave you the daily value of 100% for the day. Based on a 2,000 calorie diet, it tells you where this single food item falls out of your 100% allotment for the day, okay? So for example, sodium. About 2,300 milligrams of sodium is the average recommended amount based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So when you look at sodium on this label, it says 3%. So is 3 out of your 100% for the day a lot? No. But, oops, sorry. Is this one yogurt the only thing you're eating today? No. So this yogurt could have been the dessert to the pizza and French fries you had at lunch, right? So the percent daily value is kind of just like a quick snapshot guide, but it's really hard to kind of keep track of everything you're eating for the day, right? So it's helpful in a sense where it gives you like that one point in time item, but you have to really put in the effort for your whole overall consumption for the day. Make sense? The recommended amount of sodium per day, if you don't have high blood pressure, is 2,300 milligrams. Okay, so for some things like fiber, here, this example, less than 1 gram, 3%, that's low, right? We want to see high numbers next to fiber. Okay, underneath the percent daily value on a listed label, it'll be a little bit different on this actual label, we'll have the ingredients list. Now, before I give you the answer, sorry if you already saw it. What do you think the ingredients in yogurt are? Or the ingredients in yogurt should be? Josephina, that list looks too long. You're right. We'll talk about it. What do you think should be in your yogurt? Milk cultures. Now, David, you said sugar. Why are you assuming sugar belongs in yogurt? Did you just see that list? Rita, you said sugar too. Why do you guys think it belongs in yogurt? To make it taste better. Okay. At least you're honest. Fruit, water, strawberry puree to make it sweet. Okay. So you're right. Now take a look at the list, right? We have cultured non-fat milk. We know this is a non-fat yogurt, so that makes sense. Strawberries, which the ingredients list is going to be written in descending volume by order, meaning that the first ingredient is what there's the most of, and then it goes down by weight. So milk, first ingredient, good. Strawberries, second ingredient, great. Now what's the third ingredient? Cane sugar, right? Now, David thinks our yogurt needs sugar, but in reality, it doesn't need sugar. We just like it with sugar. So you could add your own sugar and it would still hopefully be less than the amount of sugar that's already in this yogurt. Now, we also don't know, right? It doesn't tell us the volume or the ratios of how much is in here. Is it equal? Is it this much milk and this much sugar, right? So it's helpful a little bit. Next, we have water, fruit pectin, natural flavors, which doesn't mean anything, guar gum, which is a thickening agent, fruit and vegetable juice concentrate for color, locust bean gum, a thickener, and lemon juice concentrate. Okay. Now, who said it was a Josephina? This is a long list. This is a long list for a seemingly healthy food, right? No, yes, you can disagree with me. You could say no. Okay, now we are going to move on to another example. This is strawberry low-fat, less sugar Greek yogurt. Do you think this is a better option? Ooh, Nadira says no. That was a fast no, Nadira. No, Emma. Uh-oh, Helen says yes. Let's see the label. Good, I like how you're thinking, Carol. Priscilla says depends. Safe answer. No, Lynette said no. Denise, no, it should be no more than 4 grams. Okay. Nikolai said yes. Depends on the sugar substitute, Priscilla. There we go. Okay. So that, yes, Lily, that was the answer I was looking for, right? If it's less sugar, something here is suspicious, right? Why are we even mentioning the sugar in yogurt? You know, besides David, we mentioned that it doesn't need the sugar, right? So why are they harping on the sugar here? So if you take a look at the calories, 1 for 1, this example has, now, oh, sorry, let me bring up, this is a reduced fat. So this is a 2% yogurt rather than a non-fat, right? This was a non-fat yogurt. This is a 2% yogurt. Take a look at the calories. The difference in calories is 10 calories, okay? Is that a huge difference? Are we going to go nuts over 10 calories? No. And we said that the fat from dairy is helpful, right? So yes, over time, Lily, but again, like the 10 calories from yogurt aren't the calories I'm concerned about. It's more the cookies, the pretzels, the chips, the pizza, the French fries, right? Those are the 10 calories that really make the difference. So when we look at this, right, the added sugar here versus the total sugar, right? So we have 5 grams added sugar. Now remember what we said, 4 grams added sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So how many grams, how many teaspoons of added sugar are in this yogurt? Right, a little bit more than 1, right? 1 1/4, okay? Now, what I want you to take a look at here is the ingredients list. We have reduced fat milk is the first ingredient. And what's the second ingredient here? Where's Priscilla? I hope you're reading this list.
Sure am.
Right? So if you take a look at this one, which seemingly should be a better option, the second ingredient here is sugar. And then you have water, and then you have strawberry puree. So the strawberry is the fourth flavor here. And then you have all the fillers, the fruit pectin, the natural flavors, which doesn't mean anything, the locust bean gum, the fruit and vegetable juice, the guar gum, the lemon juice, right? So take a look at this list. Right, this is much more misleading, right? Yes, there's less added sugar than the other one. And there's, again, it's just important to be informed, okay? So is the blueberry any better? Any blueberry likers out there? Look at the ingredient list on the blueberry yogurt. Any better? We have our non-fat milk, blueberries, cane sugar is number 3. And this is still a very long list for yogurt. Okay? Now we have our plain. Okay? Our plain yogurts. This is a non-fat plain yogurt. Take a look at the ingredients. Where's David? What do we have here? One ingredient. That's it. Now, yes, it will not be as delicious as the strawberry one. That's granted, right? There's no sugar. It's going to have much less flavor. So, like Carol suggested, you can add your own fruit. Even if you add honey to this and you add 1 teaspoon of honey, you're still better off with this one, right? That's still less sugar than if you were to buy one of these pre-flavored ones. And you're not getting any of the other fillers and guar gums and locust bean, right? Like all the other thickening agents and emulsifiers and additives that are in the flavored yogurt. This is a pure food. Look at this beautiful 1 ingredient list. Even better, this is the whole milk one. Okay, same thing. It's just milk. This is a big tub. I don't think they even sell the whole milk one in the small cup, which I have my own qualms about. But in this big tub, okay, the serving size is 170 grams versus 150 grams in the small cup. So the serving size is bigger, right? But it's just 3/4 of a cup for simplicity, okay? So you'll get more protein and you'll get more fat, but more protein and more fat help us stay feeling fuller longer, help stabilize our blood sugar levels, and help with absorption of those fat-soluble vitamins, okay? Some other brands that do fortify their vitamin D, their yogurts with vitamin D, Yoplait, Dannon, Archer Farms, Wegmans, Stonyfield. They also make Greek yogurt options that do have vitamin D if that's a concern of yours. Okay. We didn't talk about we said fatty fish, but sardines are also a really good source of vitamin D. How much fat for the whole milk versus the sodium? So it's going to have 9 grams of fat, which again, it's not nothing, but it's not a ton. And sodium on this one, the sodium should be similar. If you look at the non-fat one, the sodium here for the non-fat one is 55 milligrams, so it's actually less, okay? That is the full fat yogurt. Okay, now next we have the last thing I wanted to mention was, full circle, the first thing we mentioned, most people do not consume 1 serving, correct? So for foods that people typically consume the whole package, like ice cream, there is what we'll find a dual column label. And this is to make it easier for you to see how much more you are consuming when you eat the entire pint, okay? So this is an example I threw in my favorite example of the cookies and cream from Haagen-Dazs, okay? So 1 serving, 2/3 of a cup, 320 calories, 20 grams of fat. What happens when you eat the entire container? You smile. Thanks, Wanda. That was a good answer. Right? Okay, so the calorie intake's more than double. Yes, Cece, because if you look at the top where it says nutrition facts label, 2.5 servings per container. So that means you have to multiply all the information on that one serving times 2.5, or they do all the math for you on that second column, right? 840 calories, David. Good. So this is what it means. For foods that you find this dual column, that's why it's there. Okay? Any questions? We have a few minutes left for questions. I know we talked about a lot today. If anyone wants me to go back to any of the slides to go over anything. Yes, Mika, plain is better. We just add our own ingredients. Might the whole milk be better than non-fat yogurt for type 2 diabetes client? Carol, that is my personal opinion. That is my personal professional opinion. Not everyone will agree, but that is my professional personal opinion. Oh, thanks, Dolores. Denise, can we go back to sodium? You bet. So remember, sodium is going to be in anything that's in a bag, in a package, in a box. It is added as a preservative to help food stay fresher longer. As a good rule of thumb, what types of foods don't need a nutrition facts label? What types of foods do we not have to be worried about the sodium? Water, yes, Nadira. There we go. Right, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, natural and fresh. You got it, David. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. Thanks, Raquel. Okay.
Very enlightening. Thank you, Tamar, and thank you for all of the questions. And hopefully, now that you know all about the nutrition facts label, when it comes to the mini challenges where you're looking to see, well, how much fiber are you taking in per week? Or am I limiting my sugar amount? And there's no recommendation for sugar, but one of the goals is to try and keep the added sugar to less than 50 grams, which Tamar may say, Brenda, is pretty high in itself. But let's use that as a general goal. So if you having a mini challenge where you're looking at your sugar amount, you want to aim to have less than 50 grams of added sugar per day. And again, we want to hear from you. So if you're meeting your goal, or if you have a food label that you're shocked with the amount of fiber it's not giving you, or the amount of sugar it's giving you, post so we can see, and even snap a picture of the label, because it's all a learning experience. But I want to say, Tamar, thank you.